in 1997, Five Alive were looking to finance their album. And what they did, and this started actually innovation around music distribution and music financing. What they did, they cut out, because they were selling it on CD, they cut out the image of the CD, literally on a sort of cardboard, and sold it in advance. They said, look, if you want to get our album, so they started doing a lot of live performances and saying, this music will be available on CD very soon. But if you want to buy our album in advance, buy this. And I can't remember, was it 1,000 shillings? Which was a lot of money back then. It was a lot of money back then, but tulinunua. And I think they managed to raise, through that method, and through their friends, families, etc., they managed to raise enough money to actually go and record the album. Like, I was smart. I was like little geniuses in 1997. So big up. Just before Mdundo and before Skiza all was, available. They actually thought that out. And that's quite something to know if people don't know about that. I think that's quite important.
So David, there, Ulini spoiler, a little surprise, because I was going to play that one a bit later. And the only reason I was saving it for later is speaking directly about how the music we grew up listening to grew up. This was a bit later when we were already a bit up. But influenced us. Influenced us and how directly it influenced us. So that song you just played on Dio was sampled by a group called Just a Band in their first album for a song also called On Dio. And I was going to play both, but now you've already heard the first one. So I will now play the Just a Band version. These guys, they are foolish.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so this song you're hearing right now, so basically this was, so I'm also in Just a Band, but I'll talk like the other people who, House has this tradition of taking older records like disco records and flipping them, Daft Punk and all these guys are famous for that, although there are black people who were doing it before. But anyway, and this was kind of like our own flavor of flipping that, taking a classic Kenyan record and just turning it into something funky. And it really rocked dance floors for most of the late 2000s and early 2010s. And yeah, thank you, Five Alive.
Can I tell you
I still have that CD.
Can I tell you the truth? Today is when I learned that that's a sample used. I had no idea.
Really?
I think I'm done here. Bye.
Wait, you never... Oh, that's cool.
I just got schooled. I was 0 days old finding this out.
We didn't even want to hide it. It was called Ondio. Ondio, straight up. Straight up to your face.
That's dope.
Now we can go back to... step back in time a little bit.
I don't know where we go. By the way, the song 2 in 1, Boom Bafo was actually, we produced that in 99.
99?
At Audioval Studios. That was in 99. Same time we did this song. This was from an album. We started a series with Ted Josiah called Kenyan First Chapter and then Kenyan Second Chapter. There might be a third chapter coming out soon. But the song that followed that on the same album was a slightly popular song by another young duo who had played earlier. And this was the song. Before I play this song, That 2-in-1, we had an argument with Ted for a week about, should we include this in the album, should we not? I was like, Kenyans are not ready. He was like, David, trust me, this thing is going to blow up. And actually, the two songs, the song I'm going to play next and Boom Bap Y'all 2-in-1 by Ndaling P were the two songs that led, in that year, they're the ones that literally stood out. They were all over the airwaves. They totally dominated the airwaves. And this was the other song. Giddy giddy maji maji. So wherever you are, just get ready. Warm up your knees, because this is not a song for sitting down. This is edutainment, so we're going to jam as those are dance to this song.
Jomoko dombolo, venga ni manakanyo kabasele luna kidi, Julie dunia mbaya. Atka mako magilunga niero rap man. Gidi gidi maji maji combination what a one. Ngata biwa chuado, ngane biwa god.
Tamu, I'm just undressing you so that you can go and find out more about this music. Especially for those of you who might not have known all this music existed back in the day. Some of you might think, pop music started in 2010. But it didn't. So this is just what this is all about.
David, can I address two artists you've already played today?
Absolutely.
That
Shoot.
I also found something interesting as we're now in the 2000s started happening where they're not just local heroes, these guys. Their music was now starting to cross over and the names of the musicians were starting to get international appeal. And now you started having people starting to get signed abroad and stuff. So like, for example, your Gidi Gidi and Maji Maji, after I think they got signed after Unbogable.
After Unbogable, they got signed up to Gallo Records in South Africa.
In South Africa, and then they went down there, recorded an album, and shot an amazing video for one of my favorite Gidi Gidi Maji Maji songs that I'm going to play now, and then I'll play another one by another act who kind of did the same thing.
Many faces, many races. I have come from many places, but I never seen a sky so
Gidi gidi maji maji gidi gidi maji maji.
So free and so whole, yeah. But I never seen a sky so blue.
Yo, giddy giddy maji maji, and the seats, SA, Groove Machine, come on, D-Rex, Junda na me, Iliga ine, never want to off nege, Imaka kimako want to off make, Ene, you just don't run up pesa wa ebengi, Intame, aneko kibitoko uko taya, Maji maji tabo shine, Pile katache, kakilo no watch mara dirka himo 44, Tida window kanuora, olo mi amor, Pin to the war, Kuchonge bringi lem, Yesu, Lion of Judah, Nene, Maricho Master Timoleji, Dobele wena, Aher ngata wena, Kajita loke Judah, Ma Escariot.
Many faces, many faces.
Yeah.
I have come from
Yes.
Wow.
So that was Many Faces, and basically they had been quiet for a bit when we knew they were in SA, and then this is what they came back with, and it was just like, whoa. And one thing I always loved about this, even though they went to SA, you'll notice they were still singing in Django, in that they kept the thing that made them who they are. So even as international crossover started happening, it was still like, nah, man, we keep it real. Now the other group, I'll play
And
one
just
song.
to remind, just in that video, if you remember the video, there was a tall black model in it. She was a Kenyan model, if I remember right. We have to remember her name. We're going to find out. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I think they shot like in a desert in SA somewhere. But now the other group, so you mentioned K-Shaka. So K-Shaka became legends in the D, and that they became kind of like the Wu-Tang Clan, where how many members are there? We don't know. So they just became Uko Flani because it's just like
A collective.
a million people. And Uko Flani has produced legends like Giuliani and other guys as well. And in the early 2000s, there's also now a bit of crossover where they started working with international acts. And one of those collaborations produced one of my favorite tracks by Uko Flani, Mau Mau. And I'll just play it.
Siku nyingi ninangoja, safari sana utayaona. Amsterdam
We moved from the soil of the mother. Too black, too strong. Somebody hold me, cause we really about to hurt this. From NYC to Dandara, I be soaring from the eagle, fully legal with my eyes on the summer.
I understand here to the street Africa sauce. Face to face, the cargo desk. Can't contest, but yeah, on my best. Came to set East Africa standard. Still come from the land of actors, parties. What are the job for streets? I'm a broke and never be bandits. My streets in a big prestige kids.
Yes. So that was Uko Flani and Rago Des, legendary New York underground rapper, underground and otherwise. And I forgot what the compilation of this album was. I forgot the name. But anyway, so yeah, stuff started happening. People started actually being international somehow. Kenyans, who knew we could do it?
You know, what I'm loving about this is it's taking me back. It's actually, I mean, there's stuff obviously even I've forgotten. I haven't played for a while, but that song I have not heard in a while. And I remember when the video came out, and if I remember right, I think it also played on MTV, became a huge hit in Europe. It was played heavily on Mnet or whatever, you know, the whole DSTV line. It was a huge song, and Uko Flani really came to light. And for those of you who don't know about Uko Flani Mau Mau, the movement, as Mbithi said, was like Wu-Tang Clan. What are the sign? Wu-Tang. But it really influenced a lot of kids, especially in Eastlands, to just say, we also have a voice. And a lot of people came out of that clan. Kitusua, Mitinidawa, Brayo. We recorded a song, actually. I don't know if you remember the group Warogi Wawili. We recorded a song. I've just, this is how it's just, it starts rolling in the memory, because sometimes you forget, after years later, you forget some of these songs. But we recorded a song, and Brayo was the younger brother of Kama of Kalamashaka. And, these kids would always hang around the students like, Tuneza rap. Giuliani was the other one. Tuneza rap, Tuneza rap. You're like, kiddo, just wait your turn, and look at them today. So this song, let's do a teaser.
Mao tunanena operation wakilisha lyrics zetu kama magic potion ma MC wakifanya imitation kwa show wana need tuition Mao tuna hip hop passion no wonder tunawapa MC tension kwa microphone kuna hesitation taking Mao operation shaka flow to give flow and the feel Warogi wawili tukikuja na hip hop sorry sema yo nikana prayo bata shanga pimta filo tuki flow and the feel Warogi wawili tukikuja na hip hop sorry sema yo nikana prayo.
And that's all off Uko Flani Mau Mau. I mean, it was a real collective. Actually, I think someone did a documentary on them. If you look it up, maybe it's on YouTube. Someone did a documentary on them. And if you're into hip-hop right now in East Africa, in Africa actually, but I'd say specifically in East Africa, please look up Uko Flani Mau Mau Camp. They were a force to be reckoned with. Thanks, Mbithi, for that. Hey.
Ain't no problem. Now, Sasa David, I played a dance song by just a band, and it feels wrong to go that far without acknowledging these legends who came and basically switched up how Kenyan music sounded. And this is, I guess, if we're talking about a golden era and age that belonged to one stable, my guy, Ogopa DJs, man.
Yo!
These Ogopa DJs showed up in like 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
And already had like a stable of artists, but the magic they dropped was insane and had a very huge influence in, I think, Kenyans also accepting different sounds. I know many people call it like Kapuka, but if you went back to Ogopa 1 and Ogopa 2, those two CDs, and dug deep, there was so many different genres that were... So you had that kind of dancehall reggaeton thing, but then there was also a lot more dance-type music. Even in Anoki itself is a dance track. But I won't play Ninanoki. I can leave that one for David if you want. But I'll play another one that did very well from Ogopa 1 and kind of brought this artist to us as a solo musician. And she dropped many, many bops since then.
Also hoping you'd say she. Yes. Can you, in fact, you know what? Can we do like a 8-minute you and I, like an Ogopa session? I think Ogopa needs, and then I'd like to come to Just a Band because I want to talk a lot about Just a Band. But can we just do a little Ogopa session, maybe 5 minutes?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Drop it.
I wanna be. So that was Amani with Tahiti in Ogopa 1. David, go ahead, man.
Hey, you know,
drop
now,
us.
Yanni.
I'll drop obscure Ogopa songs.
I'm going for the jugular, guys. I'm going for the jugular. I'm like I'm going for popularity right here. Okay.
Mimi ni mse wa B-sides.
So there are these guys.
Should we say, let me see your hands up, babe.
Mr. Googs, Vinny Banton. This still thing, it still rocks the dance floors.
Let me see your hands up, baby. Okay. Now I said to it, talk, give the ride. Give the ride. Tukifry wak MCs kama yai kwa karabai.
Bosi meshika sema mai.
Oh my. Kama say tumetoka get the ride. Get the ride. Kama kukubaranza jina dry high. Tukifry wak MCs kama yai kwa karabai.
Bosi meshika sema mai.
Oh my.
Just teasers. Over to you, Bibi.
Oh, it's just teasers?
Yeah, just teasers.
Okay.
Kionjo.
Okay, basi can't teasers. You're dropping bangers, so now, we've said dance. They brought dance music. That was like a, would you call that reggaeton, dancehall-ish influence thing?
That kind of vibe.
They also brought us one of Kenya's best rappers. As I said, kuna top 5. Yeah, kuna number 3 kwangu. I know that's blasphemy for very many Kenyans. But they brought us the late, great Issa.
Wasema ya kesho ni muongo, mazi nipe mkono, tembea na micheza na milo, warudi nyumbani bila kiuno, wacha nikupe mfano, leo ni leo. Wasema ya kesho ni muongo, mazi nipe mkono, tembea na micheza na milo, warudi nyumbani bila kiuno, wacha nikupe mfano. Ni Ijumaa, saa 2 ya usiku imefika, weekend imeingia, lazima nitashangilia. Tomo ukifika nyumbani pigia simu Roda na Rukia, Tamika Mona Lisa usisahau Tina pia. Kuja na pesa za kutosha kabla hujanipitia, jua Pirates wapenda mangiri simamia, Kiswahili na wakilisha. Mamazi na forget Roda Glava.
Yes.
Okay, you went
for
Issa
jugular.
with
Leonie Leo.
You went for jugular. I can see. But you know what? This period, this is when I think pop music took it a notch up. It really took pop music onto the dance floor, like onto the dance floor. This music was when you walked into Kani or somewhere, wherever it was, and you had the song playing. You actually ran to the dance floor. You didn't wait at let me get a drink. You ran and you danced mpaka you sweat, and that's when you got your drink. Because songs like this also existed.
Mr. DJ, Mr. DJ, Mr. DJ, twende kazi wewe. Mr. DJ, Mr. DJ, Mr. DJ, twende kazi beshte. Mr. DJ.
And if you don't know that, Nyashinsky started in Kleptomaniacs, surely.
Mr. DJ, Mr. DJ, Mr. DJ, twende kazi beshte. Moseme mwenyewe najua, nina mademu akishua sura macho mbele na nyuma.
Do you remember the dance, Mbithi?
Swing, swing, muziki ni bomba. Talanta sindumba. Rafiki acha kuzumba. Tata amsha, hizo mpacha. Swing, swing, muziki ni bomba. Talanta sindumba. Rafiki acha kuzumba. Tata amsha, hizo mpacha.
Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. As I said, mimi msewa obscure B-sides because I buy CDs and I listen to albums. Unajua artists work hard.
You just threw shade at me, but it's fine.
No, not you.
No, you just threw
I'm
shade.
throwing
It's
shade
fine. Ni sawa.
at people who don't listen to full albums. Unajua artists work so hard to give you all those songs.
This is true.
Alafu mnaruka ruka. Anyway, no, I'm joking. So, Inogopa 2, the album, the opening track was a track that I found so nice. It was an instrumental song, and I'll just play a bit of it. If you can look for Ogopa 2, find the song. It's called Ogopa Funky Jazzy Nation. No spaces.
Goodness.
It's all one word. But yells. Here's Ogopa Funky Jazzy Nation.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. That is a straight up house track from Ogopa DJs. Unajua what squeezy wanaona and house music is new. And this is like 2002, 2003. Just saying. It's not new. Just say you found it. Anyway.
That was actually one of the first house songs, believe it or not, that I'd actually heard produced in Kenya. And I started off as a house DJ in the 80s in the UK. I was one of the first house DJs in the UK, basically. We started house music. So when I heard that, it blew my mind. No one had really experimented with house music at that time. And that's, oh my goodness, that takes me back. That one, you got me there, proper.
Hey.
And that just shows the versatility of Ogopa, the Ogopa house. In fact, there's something we glossed over, but I'm just going to come back to it after I play this song and after you play the next song. Then I'm going to take us back and then come back to sort of close the Ogopa session. So there were these guys who took I would say the Eastern African sound to another place, and we loved them, and we used to adjust our trousers before their song was played. Ladies and gentlemen,
Longomba, 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 longomba. Mgambo ikilia ina jambo, nami ninalia kwa sababu nina jambo. Sita pipi mambo.
I'm not going to try the dance.
Unavyo walk talks unaelewa tena, unavorogeza macho nini unanikill kishenzi.
Hani nimenusurika kuwa chizi.
Kukubuzu mimi sijui ni lini.
Mimi sina hili wala lile.
Unakutaka wewe
Lana mchumba.
Yule fala nini? Mi mwenye ni chuma, nataka wewe chumba.
Nyumba yenyewe huna. Nikicheki kidondo sa roho yangu inauma. Hiyo kage kisonga songa. Mbona unaturoga. Nikicheki kidondo sa roho yangu inauma. Hiyo kage kisonga songa. Mbona unaturoga.
brothers, related to Awilo Longomba, by the way. Those guys, like, they set themselves in the place of Kenyan music annals. They put themselves in the history of Kenyan music or Kenyan produced music. Over to you, Billy.
All right. I'll just play one last one.
Absolutely.
And I guess I lied. I wasn't going to play it.
I'm so happy you played that.
Nameless na wewe.
It's a Friday night. Things all right. Tunapenda happy. Wacha kujidai. Yes, so that song obviously is legendary in the Kenyan circles. That's Ninanoki by Nameless and Amani. Amani's other song on the Gopa One compilation. And I think after this song dropped for like 8 years, if there was ever a New Year's where the clock changed over to the new year and your DJ did not play this song, he failed.
He was not worthy.
He failed. This song dropped like fire.
You know what's interesting about that song, and I was so happy you played it. It's like you read my mind. Is actually we discovered Nameless. Here's the story. Ted, Josiah, and I, with the help of Jimmy Gatho, what happened one day? We're driving in town. True story. And I think this was '99. And Ted and I were just driving around, you know, as guys do. Oh, nothing better to do. Let's just drive around town. And then we thought, Jimmy Gatho's got this show, Hits Not Homework, on Capital FM. Let's pop in and visit him. And those days they knew us, so they let us in. We got into the studio, and we're like, hey, what's up? And there was a young man called DJ John Rabah who was playing, and those days used to play with vinyl in the studio, by the way. It wasn't like digital the way it is today. And so after just chatting a bit, he said, hey, why don't we do a music competition? Like, yo, great. And those days, I tell you, we used to make decisions, get an idea, execute, then. So what happened, DJ John Rabah would play an instrumental, and people would either sing or rap over it. And I don't know, we gave that competition a name. I think we called it the Kenyan something competition. I can't remember. And what happened, we recorded on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Whoever won, people used to dial in. To vote, it wasn't send an SMS. It was actually dialing in from a call box. If you're in Campo, you go get a call box, you dial in, Capital, I've gotten through. Okay, I'd like to vote for that song. And to cut a long story short, what happened is every week we'd have a winner from each week. On the second week, and it was on a Tuesday, I remember a rapper coming on. And that rapper was David Madenge, a.k.a. the man without a name. And we heard that rap, and I remember looking across, we all looked at each other. Jimmy, Ted, and I were like, yo, that stuff is fresh. And sure enough, he won that week. And what we used to do, whoever won the week, that Saturday, they came into our studio, we recorded a song, and on the following Monday, we released it. So the following Monday, on the second week, the song Mega Rider was released. The rest, as they say, is history. But you know what? Speaking of history, you know what? I mean, you've been very humble. Mbithi. Mbithi's a very humble guy. You know what I like about Mbithi?
Tusiende hapo bado.
He's not nini. Tusiende hapo?
Hapo bado.
Bado?
The others I want to...
Mark time.
The two people I want to
Lakini tutafika.
mention
Endelea.
before we get there. And so as Ogopa is doing all of this, it's not that, like, yes, Ogopa was a big monolith of a sound that took over Kenyan airwaves, but there were other guys still doing other interesting sounds and other artists coming through. Although some of these artists had already been on the scene, but they really came into their own at this time. And also producers. There's one, your friend, who you've mentioned a few times, Mr. Ted Josiah. And another one who has also reached legendary status since is Eric Musyoka himself, over at Decibel right now. But at the time, he was with Homeboys, and he also came out with this different sound and everything. So first, I want to play one song of each producer that kind of also was a seminal moment in being very influential on how the Kenyan pop scene sounded at the time. So because you've mentioned him, I'll start with him.
Okay.
Mr. Ted Josiah.
Okay. Yo!
ndani ya kanina ashukukoni sema
Umezusha na makara wamekurusha ndani. Sema.
Umeingia kewani nami nipaka safari.
Sema.
Imefika chewa seko bima na wema 3 mpaka mtaani.
saa sita sasa kumefika tena nina hamu ya kuburudika tele kila kona kila saa naona ma
Yes. So as much as that's Ted Josiah produced, we cannot go without mentioning the artist behind the track. That's Necessary Noise, the legendary Necessary Noise, Waire. Who else was
Recorded
there?
at Audio Vault Studios. Representing Audio Vault Massive.
Nazizi.
And Mbithi.
Anyway, so that was like Ted Josiah and Necessary Noise. They did some crazy stuff with Necessary Noise's first album and second album. But the first album was like, in a statement piece. Forgive hip hop heads, forgive me for saying it. You know, like how Illmatic like made a statement. Necessary Noise's first album made a statement. I did not compare them. I just said it made a statement. Najua hip hop heads muna feelings. Pia mimi ni hip hop head na niko na feelings.
Wanna catch.
Sana.
But remember,
Now, Musyoka.
Just sorry, let me just before we jump to Musyoka. Remember Nazizi, just give you a little history there. Just a little history there. So I used to manage Nazizi and Waire separately before we formed Necessary Noise. And if you remember Nazizi's song, I won't play it, but because I know everyone knows it, like Mama, nataka kuwa famous, kala mashaka, ni sawa tu. Which she started, she sounded like she was 3 years old. She had that cute voice, and everyone said, wow, that's a future queen of hip hop in Kenya. And she still is, I think, the reigning queen, if you ask me. But that's just, again, as Mbithi said, catch my feelings. There are others rising up, and I'm very happy to hear. But Nazizi, I think, changed the sound of hip hop because she brought femininity and brought basically a female voice into hip hop at that time. There wasn't any voice then. And I think she opened up the doors, and we have to acknowledge her place in the history of Kenyan music. She really opened the doors for a lot of female rappers who are here today, Femi One, etc., etc., etc. And Waire was the first one to start really experimenting with a fusion of raga and R&B. He was like a mix between, I don't even know comparison. And it was amazing when they all got together, now adding Mbithi into the mix. There was just a cauldron of sounds. And the name Necessary Noise was actually coined when we were doing some launch gigs for Safaricom back in 2000. And we had just done one gig, and they didn't have a name. I used to introduce them as Nazizi, Waire, and Mbithi. And then I just that's not working. And we're in a van on the way to Langata from Westlands. And I said, guys, you have to come up with a name. Actually, in that van, in that drive, it's Nazizi who suggested it, and that's how Necessary Noise, the name, was born.
Nice.
I just thought I'd share that.
Yes. What is it? Well, I forget it, in science fiction, there's a character who is in all eras of time and touches on all parts of history. Someone needs to check on this guy, see which part of the future he's from.
Pharrell Things.
Yeah, bana. And now, so Musyoka. So Musyoka obviously has produced many great artists, the P Unit, and they've had smash successes and everything. But I want to go to I think it was one of the first songs I heard of produced by Musyoka by a very famous group that was formed in a competition, in a pop competition in Kenya. And once again, I'm that guy, so I go for B-sides. So I won't play the biggest hit. But this was Sema. And Sema were formed in a competition, Coca-Cola Pop Stars. Remember Pop Stars? It was like an Idols. Anyway, but And they got to work with Musyoka on an entire album. And in fact, there's an honor I want to play for Musyoka, but let me see if I'll do it. But yeah, so this is Sema and Musyoks and a certain person called JJ Ojiambo. Yes, that was Sema, who really also had a big early 2000s time. Yeah, back to you.
Thank you for that, Mbithi. And listen, guys, this wasn't scripted, but this is so dope, just like how we're feeding off each other, because I know a lot of people don't know this. In fact, it wasn't something that was very public, but before the group broke up, and if you remember, the group was made up of Kevin, Pam, and Sanaipe. Those of you know Sanaipe Tande. I was actually asked by homeboys to sort of consult on managing them, and I sort of managed them for about a month or so before they split up. No, that's not the reason they split up. But I remember, doing some shows with them, etc. And I kept on thinking, this group is going to be the biggest thing out of Kenya. It's going to be the biggest thing out of Kenya. I still lament their breakup, but the music still stands. If you've never got that album, I'm sure it's available online somewhere. Look for it. Oh, Sema is the group. SEMA.
YouTube too. Sadly, it's only on YouTube.
What else do you have from Musyoka? Musyoka needs his place in this history as well. Play another one.
Let me play one, because you also mentioned another artist that you managed before, Miss Nazizi. So this one crosses over borders, because also at this time, what ends up happening, we get a dope-ass station called EATV that starts exposing all of East Africa to itself. And so you start getting, so first of all, we were exposed to each other's unique sounds, so bongo flavor, I forget what the Ugandans called their vibe, and our Kapuka Genge vibe. And then now what ended up happening, because, man, ATV, we miss you. But it really allowed a lot of crossover with artists, and then you ended up having collaborations. And this one produced by Musyoka is one of my favorites, between Nazizi and Mr. Top in Da. Yes. Now me, David, I'm done.
What?
Me, I've spoken about who I want to speak about. Because I'm not going into the 2010s, because 2010s is recent history. You can look that up yourself. I was just going to share my past influences.
And just to add to, I won't even play, because there's so much music from that era we could play. We need like 5 sonic segments. Yeah. Hint, guys. Is artists like Red Sun, for example.
Yes.
Artists who were not from Kenya, but recorded in Kenya. There were artists from Uganda. There was an artist called Kawesa. Look him up. There was an artist, Chameleon, Bebe Cool. They all recorded in Kenya before they went and made it big back in Uganda. There's artists. Which other artists have we not mentioned from that era?
Man, the one I feel
there's
bad.
so many. But we mentioned Googs and Banton. Mr. Lenny. My goodness. There's so many artists who really, really made Kenyan music what it is. And you know what's interesting about this era? Mm-hmm. We've had an, I'll use this word carefully, an invasion of Nigerian music. And Nigerian music, trust me, I love Nigerian music. And I'm all for Africa. But for the longest time, in the recent years, Nigerian music has really dominated the dance floors all over Africa, especially in Kenya. And this era of music, the Gopa, the Necessary Noise, all that sort of music, is the only other music, it's the only Kenyan music that makes, that sort of, I'd call the word competes, even though it's not really a competition, but competes with Niger music on a dance floor. Like, you can play a Niger song, the dance floor will fill, but you play an old Nameless song, the floor will fill, probably even more. So I'm very proud of this era. And I'm not saying there's not music today. There are people like Sauti Sol who will fill a dance floor in no time. There's people like Nyashinsky. There's people like Dana Seda. There's people like, there's a whole lot of artists who will still fill a dance floor today or a concert with their music. And just...
David, sorry, you've mentioned someone who... Now, because I had even forgotten, but this was a very important stable in the... I think I'd call it the second half of the 2000s. And that was Kijiji Records. Now, Kijiji Records, when they were starting, had a very solid stable of artists who did amazing things. And you mentioned him as an artist of today. He still is, obviously. And, artists are sensitive first. So you have to know how to phrase things because feelings can be caught, but then also they feel nice when you say nice things. So Dan Cheesy, I said, I've added the cheesy part because that's how he was known back then, is behind the camera right now. And Maze, Dan, you thought I was going to let you go? You thought.
Oh, yeah.
Sema. Come to, just come. Just come.
Mioyo yetu yamejaa, kisha sasa nimeamua, nitatangaza ndiye wangu milele. Mikono nakosa, machoni naona, moyoni nakosa, kinywani nasema, songa songa kando.
Yes, that was Mr. Cheesy, the song Songa featuring Nema, who's another artist worth remembering. And that was all Kijiji Records in the beginning, produced by David Blackman Mudami. And now I'm officially done.
No, we're not done yet.
I was saving that one.
I haven't had that song in so long.
Masazetu zimeisha.
This time. There's two more artists. You know what I feel? If we didn't mention, especially play just Kionjo of these two artists, we'll have done you guys an injustice.
Play that thing.
I'm just going to play them. I won't even say who they are. I'm just going to
play
them.
that thing. Drop your ngoma.
Hata nimekasirika.
Drop your ngoma.
Hey. How can we not talk about
Tena. In celebration ya watu wote wale na live their dream. Umekoki struggle through thick and thin. Finally mambo yako imeanza kwenda poa. Through patience na persistence tumetoboa. Waafrika tumefika mali tulikuwa tunataka. Big up Obama, now ni Godfather.
Type away, type away. Who was that? Who is that? Just type away in the comment section. Who do you think that was? I'll play another. By another.
My guy.
Who do you think
David,
that
David,
was?
David. That one they know. That one they know. But let me tell you something.
There's some people who, but they don't assume everyone knows, eh?
Aki, I apologize also to the Genge fans because I know, as I said, we're sensitive, man, about the music we like. So I know it looked like we ignored Caliph and all they've done, but imagine it's just because of time. But if you're going to play some Caliph music, you have to play this Mugais. This game right here.
Let me hear it. Wow.
Sasa utulie usitoke hapo, nimekurige kitambo, naomba tu nipe namba zako, hata kani za vako. Sasa utulie usitoke hapo, nimekurige kitambo, naomba tu nipe namba zako, hata kani za sistako. Vile umenipeleka mbio, siwezi tuliza.
Mr. Flex.
I think I'm done here. I'm leaving.
Flex.
Hey!
Unsung heroes. Flex needs more props.
Big up, big up, big up. You know what? As somebody who's been in the music industry for over 32 years, and I have, some call me the Mzee of Music Ninis. Don't give me those old names. I'm not dying here. But the reason I am very happy, people ask me, do you think the music industry has progressed in Kenya? Do you think... I think we've gone very far and we've got a long way to go. And part of the reason I believe in that is because towards the end of that era, into the 2000s, there's a group that emerged. These guys were the most innovative, they were fresh. In fact, they were ahead of their time. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Just a Band.
Nani
Take it
how?
away, Mbithi.
Nani how? I'm not playing nothing.
And yes, Mbithi was part of Just a Band. I want to talk about Just a Band. These three cats, what inspired you to even start getting together? Like, how did you guys know each other? How did you get together?
Hey,
First of all, who made up Just a Band? Just let people know who.
The history of Just a Band is long and goes back to some people who are in Changes High School. Two members were in high school together.
What high school was that?
Changes.
Ah.
And then they met a third member in uni, which was KU. And they had jam says together. And then from there, that's also when the name was conceived. But not till way after graduation was the work on the first album started, after some tests on an EP. And at that time, also now the fourth member joined. And then it came, like it was a crazy thing where it was just we were just a bunch of dudes trying to make the fun kind of music we like, and not just music, anything. Videos.
These members you're talking about, these members. Who are these members? Just stop being so brief.
Kuna Wikipedia.
Name the members.
Kuna Wikipedia. Anyway, so original members, Jim Chuchu, Blinky Bill, and Daniel Muli, and then myself, Mbithi Masi, joined a bit later. And yeah, and then we, so we were making our own videos, making the music in our house. We all lived together, and we just chip in and just kind of make stuff. And somehow all of this stuff resonated with a certain group of people who became our fans and really allowed us to do stuff we hadn't even thought about doing. And yeah, but the vibes were dope.
What stood out for me about Just a Band and what you did is, I think to me, you were the first Kenyan group who really, I use the word innovated in a very different way, at least for that period. Both your samples, your depth of music, all of you collectively, you had, like I could relate to it, I could, and you told your stories in a very, you used comedy, you used sci-fi, you used all sorts of ways to communicate your message. I mean, for example, look at your Makmende.
Yes.
Yeah? Your Makmende story that became, I think that's what really thrust you guys into the limelight. And Makmende was based off a story I grew up with as a kid, and it brought that back in and was so proud to own it as well, as I can tell you from my point of view. So it really had, and I really took notice of you guys from then on. And I must say, I've never been disappointed with any of you. Thank you for doing that. And I think you guys are the guys who thrust. Just when Kenyan music was taking a bit of a dip, you thrust it back and gave it the energy that's still being celebrated today. I just want to acknowledge you guys for that.
Asante, my guy. Those are very kind words. As I said, artists are sensitive, and we also take kind words very nicely.
Play me two of your favorite songs from Just a Band.
Imagine I don't carry Just a Band music.
Now,
It's like ask him if he has his music. No, he probably. But you're speaking of a certain point in time, and just, I guess maybe I can wrap up on that decade, that 2010. I'll stop there. I'll stop there. But these cats were like 2011, 2012. I'm sure you have Just a Band. I'll give you a chance to get it. I imagine I have nothing. But I'll play this one for the younger folks in the room. If you were in high school in 2010 or primary school, this was probably your jam. And these cats also deserve mad props because they did a lot in a very short time. A lot.
Yes. I've got a suspicion who that might be.
And yay, big ups to all of them. And they're still in the game. They're not retired. So keep looking out for them. Because, they...
Me, I keep it fresh on.
Me, I keep it fresh. Me, I keep it fresh. Me, I keep it fresh all day.
Fresh on it. Fresh on it. It's on you. Fresh on it.
Think you can handle Camula.
I come correct, and you're my swag so official like I'm correct. See, I be rocking Louis, so shorties wanna do me. Have all these haters feeling so underdressed. I see you mugging me, but I ain't mugging back. Cause I ain't got time for your chitty chat. Why you tryna copy and paste me? I'll be with your broad like butter on pastry. She's on my arm like my veggie berry. And we be on that weed from early. OG, smoking by the OZ. And all she wanna see is a couple emojis. Well, I got money to blow. And shorty, I ain't trippin', so you already know. Can't rule her all day. If you want it, gon' pay. Hater, I'm just letting you know.
We have to let Karun sing.
All I know is swagger.
Me, I keep it fresh all day. It's all cool. Me, I keep it fresh all day. It's all cool.
Put your hands up if you have some.
Cause you keep it fresh all day. It's all cool. Cause you keep it fresh all day. It's all cool.
Yes. That was Kamula,
That was definitely Kamula.
Shopperman, Tayo, Marcus,
What were B-sides?
and Madame.
What were B-sides?
And that was Karun of Kamula, accompanied by Harry Kimani.
Now, we're coming up to Christmas. I want you to just Google, what are those sessions called? Just tell me about those sessions. I told you about this earlier, like my favorite Christmas time. I always go back to these sessions. Just tell me a bit about those sessions.
Yeah, no, we made a small Christmas album called the Boxing Day Special in our house, and we just had some friends over and we recorded these small videos in our sitting room. And I think that's what you're about to play. And it's all on YouTube. Enjoy. Also, if you go to our Bandcamp, you can download all the songs for free. Enjoy.
Actually, I just threw him off because I just thought it needs to be acknowledged. I mean, that's some of my freshest music. And just look that up on YouTube. It's so fresh. And that was produced by this talented, uber talented film producer also. It's not just like a musician. And because we like playing, ladies and gentlemen, Just a Band.
disco. Now I am the life of the party. What? Did you lose your mind?
You thought you'd get away with not playing your like he thought we will get away with not playing his music. Is it crazy? I'm gonna play one more. Oh,
that one. Just to mention, that was Mayonde on the chorus of that. She's been on all the Just a Band albums, and before when she used to go by the name Dana Duba, and then she got married to some guy. But Mayonde is still her name. But yeah, that was her on the chorus of that.
Dunia ina mambo bana, ukisema sana tena sana.
watu wa zilizopendwa.
Ukiniona waniona na aibu sana. Wase wangu kwa mtaa wanawika bana. Siku hizi naogopa kuomba Bwana.
He sounds like Case out there a little.
Wali nipa uongo na nikakubali, nikamfuata nyuki nikalimwa na asali. Weka tumbo mbele, wacha kile nyuma. Mighty Cavaliers walisema sikusikiza.
Baba na mama walinigusia ewe kijana. Kuwa mwanangu jione dunia ina mambo. Yao sikuyasikiza, sasa mimi najuta. Kweli najionea, dunia ina mambo.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the first, one of the first artists who really took Kenyan Zilizopendwa. I mean, there were some others before, but really embraced Kenyan Zilizopendwa and modernized it and just brought it into the center. I mean, we can have a whole session about people who've used Kenyan music from the past into the present. That's just an example. Ladies and gentlemen, Just a Band.
Asante sana, David. I feel like that would be the perfect segue to call her up to our session. Nambi wa Masaa.
Jamalizika, I have a question to ask you before we close.
Ask it.
It's a question that's asked by all entertainment reporters.
Yes.
They always say, what advice would you give artists today who are trying to make it in society?
Advice to give artists.
I'm an upcoming artist, upcoming rapper. How do I make it in the industry?
Nunua shamba.
I know that's true.
But so first of all, we're all Kenyan. If you're a Kenyan, I can speak specifically to that experience. What you need the most is perseverance, because even as a normal citizen, we're already tested. As an artist, you're tested times double. And when I say perseverance, it's not stubbornness, but it's just you just really need. If this is what you want to do, you really need to hold on to that dream, because very many things will come and try to take it away from you. And a lot of times you will lose a lot of hope, because I wasn't joking about the Shamba part. It's because money is a problem. But aside from that, I'd say stay authentic, stay true to yourself. Don't follow the trends. If the trend is your thing, fine. But don't jump from here to there chasing where you think the money is at. That's not a thing. Money is all a mirage. People are finding it by being themselves. There's a reason Sauti are the way they are, and they're stuck there. You've not seen them cross over to another thing. But I'm not saying don't experiment and don't have fun, but it's just be true to yourself and keep going. Persevere. Vumilia.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from Mbithi himself.
And you, Mr. Wizard of 32 years.
Just be passionate, be disciplined, be professional. You'll be good. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Sonic Sessions.
So as we go out, we're allowed to play one last 1 minute farewell song. Any era, any time, I don't care. You drop one, and I drop one, and then our lights can fade out.
I'll allow the younger one to drop.
You want me to drop first?
Please drop.
Are you sure?
Angusha.
You're going to regret this, man.
Angusha.
Not just verses. No, it's not. But this is one of my favorite songs by another artist who's no longer with us. Rest in peace, Mr. Boxy Pressure.
Alo, mademu wako na picha ya boxi, ya Ricover, ya BlackStar, lakini this millennium wanajisheka picha yake akiwekeka kwa album.
Haibani. Picha yake wekeka kwa album. Wanasemeko Newton ni changamoto handsome number 1. Bila mimi roho yao inawatuteko kama tufamu. Kwa sababu wanasemeko Kakamega welcome.
Picha yake wekeka kwa album. Wanasemeko kufikisha ni changamoto handsome number 1. Bila mimi roho yao inawatuteko kama tufamu. Kwa sababu wanasemeko Kakamega welcome.
Nafanyeko mapenzi kuri, nafanyeko mapenzi kwetu. Yule anipendi sasa hivi akanipendeko leo. Kwangu Jairo analekwa sita na kitu sipendi ni vipi. Umundo hinyeta anagongeko ukuru.
Yeah, that's Poxy Pressure featuring Newton. Picha Yanje. Have I said it right? Please niambie. Okay, sawa. I've gotten a stamp of approval. And it's one of the weirdest songs I've ever heard, and I like it so much because it's so weird. Handsome number 1.
That was my very dear friend Poxy Pressure. May he rest in peace. Legend in his own right. I'm going to play a song more current. One of my favorite female artists today. I'm biased because I've known her since she was a little girl. And we mentioned her slightly earlier. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Carol. Glow Up. This has been the Sonic Sessions.
Have you seen that girl? I've seen that girl before.
With me, David DJ D-Lite, and Mr. Mbithi.
Got a mind together, she can take it slow. Take it slow. If you ain't seen me lately, don't you worry, cause
see you guys.
see, I realize
Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you, David. That was fun.
It's been great meeting you. That was fun. A lot of fun.
Thank you. Peace, guys. Keep checking out more music. Find your vibes.
Glow up like this before, yeah. I'm taking it back, oh hold up, let me explore, yeah. Yeah, I never seen you glow up like this before, yeah. You're taking me back, oh baby, I'd like to know, yeah. I never seen you glow up like this before, yeah. I'm taking it back, hold up, let me explore, yeah. Yeah, I never seen you glow up like this before, yeah. You're taking me back, yeah, baby, I'd like to know, yeah.
Big tune, big tune, big tune, big things. Thank you, guys. Have a great night. Thank you, No Direct Flight. No Direct Flight, we thank you, we appreciate you. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the festival. Check out the rest of the program. Check out all the other Sonic sessions. Have a dope ass time. See ya.
Good night.
Go back and tell you that, yeah. Tell you I need time to know you. Tell you I've been trying to show you.